Beast Machines episode reviews now continue with Home Soil. And I'll let you know that at some point in this, at this point in me and my friend Carl going through these episodes one at a time together, this is the point where we got so just like frustrated that we spent a good 5 minutes analyzing all of the typeset errors in the Beast Machines logo. Take a look at them for yourself. It's fascinating how many little glitches you notice if you pay attention. But no, let's get on to the episode. The episode itself is there is a mysterious crashed ship shot down by Megatron's planetary defenses around Cybertron. The Maximals have to investigate and discover a plant creature inside. Now, I want to put those little summaries here at the beginning of the video just to kind of establish like the mindset you have going into the episode. It's pretty well known at this point, I think, that yes, we're looking at the Botanica episode today. We'll talk about her in a little bit. We're going to go through some of the events of the episode, however. I will say that the crashing ship really does have the vibe of like a stasis pod episode. And it's this particular episode that kind of makes me realize like how much variety and flavor that added to Beast Wars, especially in the first season, where every now and then there'd be an episode where it's just like race to get the pod. And that's kind of what it feels like. It's the Maximals trying to outrace Thrust to the crashed ship to get to whatever might happen to be on it. I will point out that for as much as I will bag on the character, Night Scream is the only one smart enough to actually go, that might not, maybe that's not a maximal ship, So, it could be an old Decepticon ship, could have been a Predacon ship. Nobody mentioned the possibility that it was a Predacon ship that crashed. The possibility, it's an intentionally thrown in line to increase the possibility that there is something very alien on board, not necessarily a transformer at all, which is not a bad line to throw in. Unfortunately, this is I will mention Thrust as yes, they're trying to chase after, they're trying to chase down this ship and try to be the first there. But the entire episode, Thrust is just going to come off as ineffective. He's got the entire Viacon army under his control now. He's the only general left. Waspinator is in charge of the drones that inhabit Cybertron by the thousands. I mean, there have been episodes that actually try a very horror movie vibe in their approach, in their setting, in their mood, but nothing in those episodes comes close to the fear that comes over me knowing that Waspinator is in control of a global army. That is horrifying in and of itself. Amusing, ironic, but horrifying. There's also a lot of shots. For whatever reason, Thrust really doesn't go inside the Grand Mall to actually talk to Megatron in person. Well, as in person as you can talk to Megatron at the moment, since he's doing his whole Zordon routine. But he just keeps staring at the Grand Mall from outside. And to be fair, it actually does raise the menace of Megatron if he is using this massive warship essentially. As his presence, as his physical being, and to actually hear the voice communicate out from the giant head is actually imposing, especially in the final scene where he's wiped out Botanica's ship, and now there's this big flame as the backdrop to the head. So that is actually a far more effective visual than the previous scenes where they're talking to Megatron inside the Grand Mall. They will go back to talking to him inside the Grand Mall, but for the most part, for now, it's at the very least an effective visual. And we do get some setup for next episode to introduce 2 brand new Viacon generals, because Thrust at this point is where I was about 2-3 episodes ago. Of Megatron really needs to just make some new generals at this point. He's losing a lot of ground here. So, The bulk of the plot itself is the mystery of the ship. And, it's not a bad mystery. They get inside, the whole place is covered in plants. So you automatically know that this is definitely connected and is going to be in theme for the show. But it's eerie, it's creepy, and they're doing a good job saying that creepy vibe. And then you get to the plant monster. For lack of better terms, when you first see it. Of course, when you first see it, it looks nothing like a maximal. Lo and behold, later on, we'll find out it's basically Botanica's beast mode, alt mode. It's her plant mode. It's the plant mode that she's going to use for the rest of the series with a different texture on top of it. So it's not the most... it's not the most engaging design, but hey, it serves a purpose. It looks like a freaky plant thing, and that's all it really needs to be. So yeah, get your little Shop of Horror vibes on, and come fight Biolante with us. So, Primal is actually aware enough to spot the fact that there's actually signs of the Megatron's virus actually affecting this plant. And here's the thing. So when the Maximals arrived on Cybertron, they were not immediately infected by just landing on the planet. The Viacons tossed canisters of the viral agent that corrupted their transmetal forms and reduced them back to their basics. That is where, that's where they contracted the virus. It's not like an airborne thing and it's all around everyone in Cybertron. That's never been established. I mean, so how did Botanica actually get infected? Is it it's not part of the planetary defenses because the Maximals got shot down too during the flashback and that didn't infect them. So, yeah, this is actually this is kind of a big plot convenience that she just happens to be infected by something she was never exposed to. But you know what? It sets up the mystery, so let's at least go with it. It's a bigger writing flaw than I first realized. But no. Primal recognizes the infection, tries to reformat her, which doesn't wipe him out for 3 episodes like it did before. And yeah, it actually does succeed in reformatting Botanica into her transorganic body. And it works. I mean, it's a big shot. It's a nice surprise moment that this alien is actually a maximal. And I like the idea. I like the idea that where we expand on what a transformer actually could be. So Botanica and her crew lands on a planet full of intelligent plant creatures. Which goes against, humans that use vehicles, animal-based planets. All right, fair enough. That's actually a really cool twist. And it really only works in this series. The fact that we put so much emphasis on plants and growing, regrowing nature to Cybertron. This is really the only time you could ever get away with a character like Botanica. There's really not a whole lot of ways of reusing her beyond this. So it's not a bad opportunity to give us something completely different. It's strange, to say the least, but it definitely works for the plot of the series. And she herself is not a bad character. She's far more level-headed than most of the other Maximals. She's much more calm, which I think is an element the Maximals at this point in the series desperately needed, so that's not unwelcome. And she's also ridiculously overpowered. She wipes out an entire platoon of tank drones with just one of her energy surges, which she also knows how to transform right away, by the way. Her, I can believe a little bit more. She seems completely in balance right off the bat, whereas, everyone else would have to work for it a little bit. I do want to point out in that screenshot that just went by, it does show the DNA scanner that gave her her plant mode. So, number one, apparently DNA scanners are still in use, and number two, it's a reused prop because that's the DNA scanner with a spark extractor attached to it that Rat Trap got a hold of, so... Let's keep in mind, Maximal ships have their own, large-scale scanner, so I get it. It's a quick little it's a little backup scene. It doesn't really have to be like new parts, new props, and all that. I get it. It's just weird to point out. There is one other like B plot to this episode that is actually interesting. That Night Scream and Silverbolt are actually starting to gel. Silverbolt's actually showing a little bit of consideration for the guy, almost to the point where it's bringing some jealousy to Black Arachnia, because at points it seems like Silverbolt is nicer to Night Scream than he is to his girlfriend. You know, okay, that's fair. So, yeah, let's see. Is there anything else I need to point out? Number one, only details that I only notice when going through this bit by bit with a fine-tooth comb. I did not realize before that Botanica has heterochromia. One green eye, one yellow eye. I've never noticed that in a Transformer before, outside of things like Armada Demolisher with like an eyepiece. Or like when it's like an intentional replacement prosthetic, yes. But to just have two normal eyes that are just different colors, that's actually really unique. It's a small detail. It's a very small detail, but I like it. So what else can I put out? Someone made a Monopoly reference, so apparently Cybertron has Monopoly. The writers really need to be aware that they're not writing human characters. I mean, I guess it makes sense. It's a Hasbro property, but it's still very bizarre. See, look at these. Oh yeah, Night Scream's also like, Night Scream is still kind of a jerk. Still can't get over that, because whenever this team is down, he's the first one to kick him, which, that's his character, but it's starting to get grating. But no, this is not bad. I'm looking through my notes just to make sure I get everything. I've got things like Optimus is big on splitting the party. They finally remember beast modes hide them from sensors, etc. Yeah, but overall, about the only like weird thing about this episode is how convenient, aside from how she got infected, is like it's super convenient that the only maximal that's landed on the planet since the main crew arrived just happens to be a plant, which I guess lends credence to the whole Oracle Destined thing, but we've talked about that and how bad that really is. So let's put all that aside and let's actually grade the episode. Honestly, I'm going to give it an enjoyable score. A lot goes on in this episode, and aside from like there's some pretty glaring plot holes things going on, but I don't think it's anything that detracts too much from what is happening. The introduction of Botanica is pretty well handled as far as like a short mystery. It's a very needed character for the series, both for the overall theme and the balance of the Maximal group. And yeah, like it does present a different scenario than we normally get in Beast Machines. So yeah, where the Maximals are the ones chasing the Viacons for once. But yeah, not a bad episode. So thank you guys for watching. We are going to begin another 3-parter with the next one. Yeah, we're getting ready for the Spark War. Join me then.
Yeah, I guess I'll give Bardic to Pain. Pain, my number one good best friend. You got this.
You're just basically like Caboose at this point.
Just like
church. Oh God.
That's all right. Let's keep this Pain train going. The Caboose is here.
Son of a bitch.
No.
And yeah,
This
you get
makes me
Bardic.
Tucker. I'm quitting.
Jaws, take 2 psychic damage.